Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I hope you can see me loud and clear. I'm trying a slightly different setup today. We're going to be able to have an overhead cam and some different features. So when you can see me, when you can hear me, go ahead and drop something in chat just so that you know that I'm here and that everything is coming through loud and clear. So I'll give you just a second just to make sure that I am coming through loud and clear. And once I see that, then we're in a good place. So let's talk a little bit about what an impromptu is so that you understand, for those of you that are new to the channel. Impromptus are a way for me to connect with you on the fly without having so much sort of like organization like I normally do. It looks like you can hear me, so fantastic. All right, so what we're going to be doing today is experiencing something kind of new. I know that a lot of you have been asking for a long time to be able to see overhead. So I'll show you right now what I can do. Hopefully you can see this. Now you can see the exact same view as I can, which allows me, just like the Queen of Swords, to really be able to express what's going on and show things to you a little bit easier. I have a lot of different features that I'm also testing out, like if you'd like to follow me on social media, instead of me having to pull up a sheet of paper, here I am. All my social media platforms, Nicholas Ashbaugh and Ashbaugh on Twitter. If you like what you see here, please drop a like and subscribe. It helps the channel. It's free. It's a great way for me to be able to see other people and all of that. And also, if you'd like to show support, you can, in addition to liking and subscribing, do super chats, super stickers, and memberships, another way to help the channel grow. And for additional information, including my upcoming schedule, you can go to my website, nicholasashbaugh.com/live. All the schedules are there, past, present, and future. Isn't that nicer than me picking up pieces of paper? I feel like that's fun. So how have I been able to do this? With your help. So thank you for everybody that's been kind enough over the past year to support me, especially those of you that have given back a little bit with all the kind memberships and super stickers and super chats. So there we go. Today, one of the things that I wanted to look at for everybody, and again, this is for everyone. Eventually, I'll get a little lower third graphic that says it's for everyone so you know when I'm doing it. And when I get into the elements, I'll be able to show it. I just didn't have time today because I wanted to set it up. All right, so I was thinking today what we could do is look at a way to get unblocked. For anybody that's having some trouble with the New Year's resolutions, we've all been there, thinking, okay, I said I was gonna do this, I'm not doing exactly what I wanna do. This is a chance for you to kind of figure out how to make it happen, all right? So let's pull a past, present, and a future card to see what you can do to really help make this happen a little bit faster, okay? Thank you so much, Robert, for that lovely super sticker, and anyone else that's doing it. I appreciate that. I'll say thank you at the very end as I kind of wrap things up. And in the meantime, I just want to focus on the messages to help you out. Okay, looking at anywhere that you might feel like you're a little bit stuck in your life. Let's see how you can get a little bit more back on track, not be so stuck here. In the past position, we have the Eight of Cups. I really love Eight of Cups because this is a card that allows you to make and break cycles in your life. So the good news with this one is basically that if you feel stuck, you're not really stuck. It's just a matter of coming back and picking up where you left off. So if in your life you've ever thought, you know, if only I could, you know, if I only could have done this, or this is your chance to not have any regrets. So in this moment in time, I want you to make a decision that you're just going to pick it back up. It doesn't have to be perfect right off the bat, right? It just has to be something that you consistently work towards. The other thing with the Eight of Cups is it's sort of a journey card. And the journey towards success doesn't happen overnight, right? Baby steps. So as we're looking at this card, it's a reminder that it's very, very important for you to just keep on keeping on, even when, or I would say especially when you feel that sense of kind of like I'm letting myself down. You're not. So just pick things up, making and breaking cycles. So you're going to make a better cycle. The other thing for some of you that I'm looking at here in the present is just, are you taking good care of yourself here? With the Four of Swords, a lot of times we can just have this feeling of exhaustion and malaise. I was actually reading today for Gemini, and this card came through as well in a pivotal position. So with the Four of Swords, it's a reminder that nobody can kind of do this on their own and at a nonstop sort of pace. It's really important for you to make time, take time, nurture yourself, and that rest is an essential piece. I know I've said this before, but rest is an essential piece to being able to really have that capacity to keep going and going and going, okay? Ultimately, I feel like some of you are just wondering, how do I get there? What's coming through? What's next? There's a lot of unknown or ambiguity here with the Eight of Swords. I also talked, it's been the last two readings actually that we've talked quite a bit about the Eight of Swords. To me, this is a caged bird that has the door open. Again, I talked this morning, but sometimes it's easier to stay in the cage. So the cage being the limits of our own imagination, the limits of people's imaginations around us, the limits that we've gotten used to, because to step into the unknown is to sometimes put yourself out there and to be vulnerable. How will people judge me? What will they think? Will it be okay? Will I mess up? Kind of some of the stuff I was feeling today as I got set up, right? So it's so important. Someone here I'm seeing in comments talking about self-care feeling like it's a luxury. It's not a luxury. If you don't, this is especially true, by the way, for those that are parents or teachers or nurses or if someone depends on you. When you start lacking that self-care, then there's nothing left. The tank is basically on empty. So this card is basically reminding you not to let the tank go on empty, to take care of yourself, and to think, no, I've got to be able to do this. So see yourself as an important piece to this equation. See the exit, see the path in front of you, and make a decision that it's going to be okay for you to go there. All right? So again, just kind of looking at all three of these, we have in the past sort of position this feeling of maybe some of you it's sort of sporadic. The Eight of Cups can be sporadic. So some of you might be thinking, oh, I'll do it today, maybe not tomorrow. And this is just about consistency. Some of you have kind of just been lacking on doing what you need to do. So if that's the case, then just pick it back up. So consistency and deciding without a shadow of a doubt to make a new cycle and break the habits that things aren't the way that you want them to be. Self-care is important because when you dream, when you sleep at night, you're also going to be better able to remember what it is that you want to do. For me, a lot of my really key information comes through in those dreams, in those meditations that come through when I'm finally kind of just letting myself be. And then finally, again, just comfort with ambiguity, stepping out of what's safe, being okay with not having all the answers all the time. Okay, so that was one thing I wanted to do. And then let's just do one last card from Spirit and just say, how are you tracking from an objective third point of view? Looking from above, just seeing what Spirit has to say here. So is there one more piece of advice that you can have to really step into a place where we know about the Four of Swords? Let's look at one more card. All right, so the King of Swords here. So with the King of Swords card, there really is a desire for you to speak up, to act, to really decide that you're going to be the agent of change. As long as you do that, as long as you step towards that, the universe is going to kind of like pay in kind. But it is sort of waiting on you to speak up, to act. So make a choice next week or this weekend to pick up the phone, to make a call, to do something really engaging, okay? So let me see if there's anything else to help you say it, because I know that that can be a little scary. So you don't have to do this alone. We have the Four of Wands here. So I talked also in the past couple readings about the helpfulness of having an accountability partner. So a lot of times, and this can just be a friend that always has a way of sort of just telling you the way it is. And sometimes we need that. We need to sort of have that supportive feeling like if somebody keeps me honest, if someone pushes me, I know I'm going to do it. So have someone there to do that. It's funny that we got Four of Swords coming through one more time, kind of pushing you to get real and to wake up. So wake up call, take some action, lean on a friend a little bit, let them help you out a bit, because you're definitely not in this alone, okay? So hopefully that helps you. It looks like you're actually tracking okay. A couple of times we've been getting messages here about sort of like working too much or not getting enough sleep. So definitely make sure that you are taking care of yourself, okay? But yeah, I don't know why I just keep seeing that caged bird metaphor. It feels cool and it feels something like I can relate to, because we've all been there. And even when the door is open, we're afraid to exit. So don't be afraid. Spirit keeps showing me that, so I'm going to repeat it until I stop thinking about it. All right, so let's take a look at some other things that are going on right now. I'm going to kind of foray into the elements. We'll take a look at fire, earth, air, and water real quick, and then we'll move on to some other things that might come up as I look at what's going on with each element. Let me take a look. I'm going to use this really cool silhouette deck. This is called The Spirit Within. Later I'll make a little graphic, but it's very close to this. You can just go to nicholasashbaugh.com. Even with this live link here, you'll still be able to go to my decks there. So you should be able to get all that information on the website. All right, let's go ahead now and give everything a shuffle. We're going to look at all of the elements here, starting with fire, and then we'll go along to earth and air and water. All right, so let's take a look, elementally speaking, and see what's going on. All right, so we'll start first with the fire signs. Seven of Cups, decision time. So for anyone that's an Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius, I think one of the things for you right now is to both brainstorm and explore options, but you will be asked eventually to land on a decision. So ideation, decision making, and really sort of homing in on what it is that is important to you. That's what's coming through here. Also, and I don't always look at it this way, but people may be coming to you for insight. They're stuck. Maybe they're too practical. Maybe they're too sort of closed-minded. And what they're really looking for you is not not so much the answer as a sounding board, as someone that they can just sort of be safe to talk about all these things with. So the Seven of Cups is really a chance for all of you to sort of be in that brainstorming developmental energy. And it's an asset for you. Anyone that might be trying to look for a new job or look for some sort of a new opportunity, people are drawn to that open-mindedness, that ability to problem solve. So definitely lean on that. You might be distracted. You may also be thinking of someone at this point in time for whatever reason. So if I ever do a personal reading for a friend or family member and that card comes up, I'm always kind of drawn to ask, like, what are you thinking about? What's on your mind? It's usually about having a difficult time in being present. So if someone or something's on your mind, then take some time right now to make sure that you're doing what's necessary to fix it, to somehow kind of like take care of whatever that is, because that's sometimes just our consciousness coming through and saying, you better do this now, better now than later. So overall, pretty good messages coming through for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, my fire signs. As we get into Earth, we have the Knight of Swords in reverse, a chance to take some action, a chance for you to really say what you need to say. This is not a quiet card. This is not an understated card. So for many of you, this is sort of a requirement for you to raise your hand and say, at this moment in time, I really need for you to hear what I have to say. Hear me out. I like knights because you start to see speed happening with them. So if there's been any stagnation in your life, you're going to notice that as we look into the next week, it'll be great to see what happens on Sunday, but as we look at the 7-day, but already I'm getting a little bit of an energy of breaking up anything, any sort of stagnation or any lack of progress. So kind of going off that initial question, it feels like you're headed in the right direction, but it is about speaking up and speaking your mind and making sure that you take the first step. So this is a very active card, not very passive. So do what you need to be very active and very proactive as well, okay? So as we kind of wrap up here for Earth, which is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, this is an important time for you to be open, thoughtful, speaking your mind, and also I would say putting the pen to paper. We talked about that a little bit earlier. There's a lot of kind of like revisionary energy, and for some of you, there's just a chance for you to kind of like fix things that may not be exactly where you want it to be. Okay, so a very similar energy coming through with Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, all my air signs, because you have the Page of Swords in reverse. For many of you, you're more interested in what someone else has to say. And I think sort of the opportunity for many of you right now is to figure out, am I being heard too? Okay. So I think many of you do have good active listening skills, but there may be people around you that are not listening to you right back. We've all been in those conversations before where you sit there and you talk and it feels like both of you are having a nice back and forth, but all of a sudden they kind of monopolize it. Make sure if you need something that you raise your hand and say what it is that you need. So this is really about being as outspoken as possible and maybe rocking the boat a little bit, especially for the Libra contingency out there who tends to sort of want to not be unpopular or not upset people. I feel like no matter where you sit in the air signs, it's going to be important to sort of like shake the tree and shake things up a little bit. It's going to be okay. I definitely get more outspoken energy when I'm looking at air than I did when I was looking at earth, but I feel like both of you have this opportunity to show people a side of you that you didn't think you had or they didn't know that you had. So use your voice. You're naturally attuned to it. All the air signs can do a great job with communication. But this month, stand out a little bit, surprise people a little bit. And again here, make sure that you're being heard. All right. Moving along now. So far, I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing here. And again, we'll go a lot deeper in the weekend when I have a chance to look at all of the elements. We're going to look at water now. We have the Emperor card reversed. The Emperor card is really about reclaiming one's power and not letting other people step in and kind of make us second guess ourselves, make us second guess our ability to really connect with people. This particular Emperor card to me also seems like it's very passive. We see that with a lot of King cards. Whenever this card comes through in reverse, it's saying it's time to get up. It's time to really connect every day with people that you care about. And for those of you that are leaders or have been sort of just sitting back and waiting for things to happen, we have this common energy today of being as active as possible. But the Emperor card is also about managing yourself, not feeling like you have to go over there and tell someone else what to do. Let people come to you for advice. You do your life, you do you, let them do them. And then basically, if they need help, when they need help, come back. Because when you allow yourself to really focus on what's important to you, you're going to be more powerful. You're going to be more effective. You're going to feel better, right? So I like what I'm seeing overall with all of these. We didn't get any really problematic cards here. Just to kind of like wrap it up, for fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, clarification, decision-making is important, but your ability to really step out there and look at different things is going to be what sets you apart. Both earth and air have some common traits, but I see many of the earth signs kind of getting further, farther, faster. It just feels like I see a breakthrough, and basically you keeping up with that speed is going to be ever so important with this card. As we look at air being heard, saying what you need to say, making sure that there's proper balance. That's going to be absolutely essential. And then for our water signs, again, making sure that other people don't step in and make you second guess your own abilities. You absolutely deserve a seat at this table. Okay, so don't give up your power. Don't let someone step in and make you feel less than you are. All right. So those are just some previews. We'll go a lot deeper on the weekend, but that's what I'm seeing right now in this moment in time. And impromptus work in the following way. Basically, it's if you need a message, when you tune in, you can get what you need here, and they're very, very much timeless readings. Some of the stuff that I'm looking at is about keeping up with like goals or resolutions, but by and large, you can use that at any point in the year if you'd like to. Okay, so let's move on. Oh, I'd love to pull a couple cards for relationships because I feel like that's always something that's popular, and people are always curious about what they can do to have healthier relationships. So let's take a look. All right. I think I'm going to start with those of you that are in relationships, and let's see what the messages are for anybody that's in a relationship. So we'll do those of you that are in relationships over here. Those of you that are trying to find one right here. And for those of you that might be happy with where you're at, but curious what kind of relationship energy is coming through for you. Okay. So let's begin with those of you that are already in a relationship. Let me put on my glasses for this, if I can find them. Okay, for those of you already in a relationship, we're going to start with the Queen of Wands in reverse. So the past information or energy, and again, this is for all signs. We just did the elements a moment ago. So anyone that's in a relationship, I want you to focus on the person that you care about the most. It doesn't have to be love. It could be a friend, a teacher, coworker, whomever it might be. Focus on that energy. What I'm seeing with this one, again, very much like the Emperor reverse. So for many of you that are water, this is coming through once again. But for everyone here in a relationship, try not to step into the role of manager or boss, because as much as we like the Queen of Wands, she's magical. She can make anything happen. She's very effective at things. She can sometimes be a little bit difficult. And so when she's upright, and when we look at this, it's open to possibilities, open mind, open heart, and really focusing on problem solving and thinking about how can I make a difference? What can I do? That's where you're the most powerful. So allow yourself to step into that power of self-management, okay? And then don't think that just because the answer isn't clear that there is no answer. She's very inventive. She's very kind of open and is never as stuck as she may seem. In fact, the present energy coming through in relationships is about planning, thinking about what the future holds. So with your partner, it's not about telling them what to do. If they want to do something their own way, let them do it. It's their choice. When they finally make a decision that, okay, maybe I should have listened to you, that's when you can talk to them a little bit. But in the meantime, we all deserve an opportunity just to kind of like step out there and try something new. I think what could be cool is finding a common interest or a common goal in present relationships and deciding that this is something that we could both work towards. This is something that we have in common, right? And then we have the Fool card, new beginnings here. And I love the way that it's illustrated. I love that we see beginnings. So really what this is a chance to do is to turn a new corner. So sometimes we want to focus on having the other person listen to us, follow our instructions and agree with us. Although I told air signs that I want you to be heard, hearing and then kind of like following through, it's two different things. So all we can do is ever kind of like plant a seed. Once you've planted that seed, focus on something else. There's a lot of manifestation energy available to all relationships this month, folks that are in relationships. So focus on the future, learn from the past, live in the present, and take a break if you need to. The Fool card can be as easy as just sort of like, we don't want to walk away so much, but just deciding like, I'm gonna read a book today. I'm gonna go to the park, walk the dog, whatever. Definitely dog energy with the Fool. So spend some time with animals and just get a little bit of space. I think that's going to help all existing relationships. Thankfully, there's nothing really problematic that's coming through there other than they may not agree with you and you may not be able to convince them to agree with you. And that's how relationships go sometimes. All right. Focusing now on those of you that are currently looking for love. You might be single, but you're looking. So single and looking, this is one of my favorite cards for the Ten of Pentacles. We see the sun, or a symbolized version of it, like symbolic sun, and then all of these cool orbits. You could also imagine it as Saturn or Jupiter. Just a big sort of energy with lots and lots of satellites. So if we turn this card upright, my message for those of you looking for love is, wow, there's a lot going on around you. Some of you may be very busy. Some of you might have a lot of social activities. Some of you might have a lot of options. And the question here is, what's most important? What's your inner planets like Mercury and Venus and Earth? What's kind of core to you and what's way out there? So prioritization is going to be important because it feels like work is kind of taking a prominent role for you. The good news with this is if you decide to put more energy in work, we have the Queen of Pentacles here in the center space, and that's fantastic. I talked this morning about how in several decks, Queen of Pentacles is a mother, just like the Empress. House, home, also finances, same nurturing energy. In tarot, this card is symbolic of that. It doesn't mean you're going to have a baby. It means that you can start to see action and growth and activity wherever you put your mind to it. So I would say for many of you, there's an encouragement right now to figure out, what do I want? What do I want to focus on? And if it is relationships, then perfect timing. This is very much marriage. Ten of Pentacles, looking at the Ten of Pentacles and the Empress card, these together are showing me that some of you are focusing not just on finding someone, but finding a partner. This again can be read generically. It doesn't have to be a woman seeking a family. It can be a man that's looking for that sort of like strong family connection with someone. And family can just be two people and a dog. But it does look like finding a sense of family and also having the promise that would be a part of the Ten of Pentacles. This is marriage, and this is feeling that someone's there to nurture you and take care of you. So do take care of yourself. This is a great way for you to bring that energy in. And remember that you are the sun at the center of this. You're not looking for that sun. You're not the satellite. And we have now Eight of Cups coming through again here. And the Eight of Cups right now is a reminder for many of you to do what we talked about earlier, which is to return to that overarching purpose. Now, in a relationship spread, the Eight of Cups is also a card of, can be sometimes like off and on, off and on. So some of you might be waiting and wondering, like, when is this going to get to the next level? This can be about being very comfortable where it's at. So it's not a casual card, but it's not sort of like progressing. So if you are looking for love and just met someone, there's a potential that this could be sporadic, off and on, or if you've been dating someone for a little bit but aren't sure where it's going, somebody needs to have the talk of exclusivity. Someone needs to talk and say, I'd like to see you a little bit more. I'd like to, where are we? Something like that. Not that, because that'll scare the person, but just say, I really like spending time with you. Could we do this more? Could we do this exclusively? It looks really positive, I have to say. If you're looking for love right now, these are 3 great cards overall. So we see the promise of, or the hope of, that commitment. We see that you have the Midas touch. We see that there is possibility for consistency, but it's just not moving. So you're going to have to be the outspoken one that brings that to the next level. Okay. So those are the folks that are looking for love. Let's move along now and focus right now on the high level messages here for those of you that are single and happy. The good news for you is that we do see some moving. I don't feel like you're going to be stuck here, but it does feel like for some of you, it's not happening as fast as you'd like. This deck has a very unusual Hanged Man. It's the sort of perspective card that's coming through. We also have the Four of Pentacles, which is kind of holding on or holding back. And then so many times today, we've been getting the Seven of Cups. So let's break these down one by one and kind of help you figure out what's going on and how people factor into things. So beginning here with your choices card. So the good news for you is that there's a lot of different directions you could go. It reminds me, though, a little bit of one of those old-fashioned kind of like Looney Tune things where you would see or kind of like a parking meter here in Los Angeles, but where there's too much information to parse, and one of those signs where there's arrows in every direction. So what do you want? That's really what the universe is asking you right now. If you're not looking for love, and if you're not, what is your focus? Is it money? Is it personal development? Are you just having a fun time dreaming? Good for you if that's the case, but there's a lot going on in your mental space. So if you can kind of like focus, you're going to see more action and more response and more manifestation in your goals. The Four of Pentacles is more of a card of holding on to something because it feels better, right? So I think that some of you may be feeling like, again, we talked about the cage bird with the Eight of Swords. It's very similar with this. This one is a little bit more of self-comforting. So sometimes we just want to hold something close to us. So if you've been working on, like we're veering out of relationship zones because it's not really here, because there's some other stuff that you're looking at. So I feel like many of you are holding on to something. It could be a project that you want to share with the world eventually, but you're not ready yet. So maybe you've been working on a proposal for business. Maybe you are an author like me and you have a book, but you're not sure if you want to shop it around for an agent. Maybe there is just something that you've been feeling like, I don't know. So let someone see a piece of this. We want to open up just a little bit because there is a lot kind of holding near and dear to the heart. Also, don't limit yourself. You have not achieved even the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to come. So this is the beginning, not the end. This is not as good as it gets. There is more, especially when we're looking at expansive opportunities in your life. And then just be patient with yourself. This perspective card is showing that you're at where you're at because you needed to understand what you wanted. Sometimes we have to stand still and wait for something, want for something, wish for something a little bit, and look at what it's like to be where we're at before we can kind of go into that next level. So if that's happening, as soon as you sort of make a decision and say, I'm ready now, magical things will start to happen. Okay? So yeah, things are good. I will say, if you're not looking for love, the energy around you says that's okay. And I'm one of those supporters that doesn't believe that you need love to be complete, to be happy, to be whole. You're okay. Okay. So overall, we have some great cards here. I really feel actually optimistic about those of you that are already in a relationship because that seemed to be some really fruitful energy. The main thing is to just not focus on trying to control the partner. If you're single and happy, you have a good chance of meeting somebody, and it looks like it's consistent, but you might have to have the talk of exclusivity. And And it does look like family, just sort of in a broader perspective, is what's going to be really important here. And then if you're single and happy, good for you, because you're working a little bit on opening up your heart space. And until that heart space is open up, it's going to be hard for you to be able to really kind of welcome people in. Okay? Cool. All right. So far, so good. All right. So I usually pull some cards for health, wealth, love, and destiny. Let me just take a quick look and see how we're doing on time. I like to try to keep these at a decent sort of length here. So let's see. I've lost track on the time, but we're going to focus. Oh, I can see it right there. It's about half an hour into it or 20 minutes in. All right. So we're okay. I like to try to keep this around half an hour or 35, 40 minutes max, because we're going to be doing this on a much sort of deeper level on the weekend. All right. So let's just pull some cards for this moment in time. We're going to look at one for health and well-being. So what is the message around health and well-being? King of Swords. Love the King of Swords. I think that when we're looking at this particular card, it's reminding me of the importance of, I actually kind of like that he's actually in a boat for here too. So movement, but movement happens when you say and kind of decide that it's going to happen. So for many of you, this is the epiphany. This is the decision. And then there's a declaration that comes with that epiphany. So in order for you to follow through on what's coming through for your health, you're going to decide to share it and, again, say what it is. If we don't kind of create that initial accountability thing, when is it going to happen? So, for instance, if you decided you want to lose some weight, we talked earlier about accountability partners. You can talk with someone and say, I really want to do this, but I need some help. I need some support. It would be great for you to be a part of this journey with me. By saying it and asking this, you've actually pulled it into creation, and then put something on the calendar. If you're interested in getting serious with someone, talk about them about that too. This is really about, to be healthy, you have to say what's on your mind. So yeah, speak up. Talk to a friend, talk to a counselor, do whatever is necessary to really set things into motion. Health begins with open throat chakra, with communication. So talk it out. And if you don't have people that want to listen to you, that's when it's really important to work with someone like a psychiatrist, counselor, or just, again, a friend. There's so many options when we're looking at that. So it's not just the air signs that need to be heard. We all need a chance to be heard. One thing that's kind of magical with this particular health card is that when you say it, you're speaking it into existence. So until sometimes you do this, it's going to be very hard for you to be able to bring it into existence. So this is the next step. Speak it, write it, do it, basically, for health. And generally, I'm not really getting anything bad with this. It would just be focusing on the throat chakra because it is swords. So for those of you that may be in the colder climates right now, this is a reminder that it's going to be important to take care of. If you're feeling a little bit of scratchiness here, especially when we're in the pandemic, get that looked at, take care of yourself, use a proper sort of, why can't I think of it, a scarf and a hat, and just kind of really make sure that you're doing everything to protect that. For the rest of you to open up the throat chakra, you can do it through singing, laughter, and talking. You can also do it in a sort of silent way through just writing. So there's so many different ways that you can bring some action into your life, into the health space, and that's what we're seeing there. Looking at wealth, which is career, which is finances, and all that jazz. Let's see what the message is for you in wealth. All right. Five of Swords. Okay. This is going to be interesting for those of you that are having some issues with respect to wealth, because there may be someone around you that's just closed off. We have like a kind of parent talking to his kids or talking to his family here, and we can see that he's sort of like pointing fingers and not really listening. So if you have a boss, for instance, it feels like they've kind of closed themselves off to what you have to say, what you have to think. And that's neither healthy, nor is it going to get you to the next level. So what you have to decide is, am I just talking to a brick wall? Is there someone else that I need to talk to? Maybe you need to talk to HR, for instance. If it's your partner, there could be things shutting down a little bit because you're trying to sort of, both sides are trying to prove that they're right or take credit for something. So this is really about slowing down, taking a deep breath and thinking, where is this getting me? Okay. with work, with your finances, this is telling me in many cases that if you can't fix it, it's time to look for something better. It's time to move on. If there's anything where you're just constantly putting things down this sort of like rabbit hole, then you owe it to yourself to look beyond that, because already we see that you're looking at general health, you're much more ready right now to be open, to speak for yourself, and you can't kind of put that back in the box afterwards. So someone could be a little bit threatened or intrigued by what you're doing with respect to your ability to sort of like, to just be more powerful. So don't let them put you back in the box. So fight the fights worth fighting and don't fight the other ones. It might be time to move beyond this situation. And if someone's being unfair, you might also need to call in a specialist, like, again, human resources. Or if it's a financial advisor and they're not working, talk to someone else there and say, I need someone to listen to me because this is important. This matters. Okay? Let's take a look now at what's coming through for, we looked at health, wealth. Let's look at love. I already kind of pulled some cards on love, so let's just look at an overarching message here. We have the Queen of Swords, so many cards today about speaking up and doing what's right. I like that we sort of see this warrior energy with this Queen of Swords. So you absolutely have what it takes to be able to take something to the next level in a relationship. And once you start talking, it's kind of like when I push live here, all of a sudden things come through. So it kind of feels like you just have to open up your mouth, open up your heart, open up your mind, and that's going to be all it takes to allow things to get into the right zone. The Queen of Swords is kind and outspoken without being too direct, without overstepping. So kind of start in that direction and make sure that you're doing the active listening that we talked about. Yes, you could be pulling in a really strong air sign into your life. So that's a good thing. You're meeting someone that has good communication skills. They may be challenging you to do the same. All right, let's take a look at the Destiny card and see what messages we have about that. So for Destiny, we have a change card, Death. I love that this is a playful skeleton. He's just kind of moving up and down and not too afraid. And look, he's got a skeleton key. So what a cool metaphor for death. Basically that change is the doorway, it is the portal. And when you do that, it opens up new opportunities for you. So if you're stagnating, if you're worrying about, is this it? What's next in your life? This card is basically showing you that this is just the beginning. It is definitely not, quote unquote, it. So focus on your ability to kind of like just be a shapeshifter, to try something new. It's kind of like when you're a kid, and if all you ate was chocolate or vanilla ice cream, you would never taste all the sort of rainbow of other options out there. You wouldn't know what pistachio tastes like, or, Rocky Road or whatever. So you have to kind of like open up your ability to taste or try something new. Okay? All 32 flavors and then some. So pretty good energy overall when I'm looking at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Again, we'll have a more detailed look this weekend, especially when we're looking at 7 days, but I like what I see right now. Okay? So let's see, is there any overarching things that you guys would like me to look at? You can throw it in chat and I'll see if something kind of resonates with me. I'm going to pull a general message from Spirit in this moment in time to see if there's something else that we should all be thinking about in this moment. So while you're kind of looking at throwing out some ideas, I'll take a look. All right, so we actually had one that volunteered. We'll do past, present, future for this too. So first, some messages from Spirit, and then I'll kind of take a look here. All right, so as we're looking at the messages from Spirit, I feel like it's hitting us over the head with the Eight of Cups. This particular Eight of Cups could just be a reminder that you need to kind of get away from things and get some perspective. Eight of Cups is definitely a chance for you to, it's kind of like a searching for yourself. It's sort of like a vision quest, right? So some of you might be on this vision quest and you need to kind of get back to source. So meditate, take a day and go to the beach. If it's cold, maybe go skiing. There's always an activity that you can do that's weather appropriate wherever you're at. Do something that connects you with the elements. Get away from work, friends, or family for a little bit. Clear your head, because that is an aspect of the Eight of Cups that we don't always see. You'll always get to come back to it, and usually when you come back to it, there's clarity. This message is also telling you that there are second chances in the universe. The universe doesn't want you to feel stuck or forever stuck. So the Eight of Cups is basically saying, if at first you don't succeed, try it again for sure. This time you have a much higher likelihood of seeing success. So I feel really hopeful for anybody out there who was somehow rejected or pushed away from an opportunity. This is your time right now to give it another go. You'll be stronger, you'll be better. It's going to feel better this time around as well. Okay? Let's move on to the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands card here is a reminder that just because you can do everything doesn't mean that you have to do everything. Make sure that you are unafraid of pushing back a little bit and saying, listen, enough is enough. I have other things that I like to focus on. Or you can also delegate with this card and say, in this moment in time, I feel like I could better put my energy here or here. So really make a choice on, for many of you, like what matters, okay? Because this is one step away from really seeing things move into an exciting place. Many of you could be on the precipice of having a lot of stuff happening with like work or relationships. You don't want to get lost in the shuffle. One thing that I really appreciate about her is she is peacefully holding her space. No, thank you. I appreciate the offer, but not today. Or I know you're asking for this, but I can't do it because of X, Y, or Z. So hold that calm, hold that sort of peace that she has, and I think that's going to be the key to your happiness and success. Two of Cups. You have options. Be discerning. Make sure that the other person is giving as much as you're giving. Make sure that you're not afraid to take on something new. Just because it hasn't happened before doesn't mean that it shouldn't happen now, or that you won't be able to do a good job with what's happening now. You absolutely can, and it's just a sort of choice. Am I ready? The universe is asking you basically, are you ready with this one? So I like all of the cards that we got today. We haven't gotten a lot of tricky sort of cards like the Ten of Swords or the Devil so far, so it feels like Friday's a good day. It's probably because I'm reading Friday, you're going to watch some Netflix, you're going to chill or whatever, but it feels like overall things are pretty good for you. The Two of Cups is also a reminder that you don't have to make everybody happy. And I know that this is like nothing new for some of you, but it's good to hear that sometimes. If you're doing a good job in life, not everyone's going to like what you're doing. Not everyone's going to approve with you. Okay? So make peace with that, but make sure that you're happy and the people that you care about are happy. Prioritize happiness and who you're trying to please. And I think that's going to be important. All right, so let me just kind of scan through some of the questions here that might be kind of coming through. Some people have asked just some general questions about family, so that might be one that I think is good. So let's take a quick look at just for those of you that might be dealing with a tricky situation in your family, if there's any advice for family. And we'll see what the message is for you. I'm not going to answer specific questions right now, but I'm just looking at overarching things that could help everybody. And then I might pull, I just might kind of go into my own intuition for a second and see if there's something else that I want to look at. All right, so again, looking at general advice about family here, we have the Knight of Cups. So for many of you, heightened sensitivity, especially since this card is reversed. Some of you might just be feeling this sense of, how am I going to take care of all of this? I feel like I'm the sponge. Everyone is putting all of their energy on me. So that Seven of Wands that we were just looking at is a really great way to counteract that. You can simply kind of push back with love. And you can just say, I'm busy tonight, but how about Monday? I have some time in the afternoon. Let's chat. Unless it's like, life or death sort of situation, you can just make a date with somebody. You don't have to do it tonight. You don't have to take the call right this moment. Just say, if it's not an emergency, I'm wrapping up a project right now, I'd like to give you my full attention. I can't do that right now. That's a really nice way to actually push back, and it's honest and it's appropriate. So otherwise you could say, I can give you 5 minutes and then I got to get back to work. You can always say no. You can always push back. If it's family, some of you might just, again, be really the sort of rock that people are leaning on, so take care of yourself. Any general advice on how to be happier and healthier with family situations? We have the Chariot card in reverse. Again, these are control dynamics that are coming through. The more in control you are, the more on top of things you are in your own life, I think the easier it is for people to know where they can step and where they can't step. And usually people aren't going to test you as much. So really being on top of things so that people don't have to nag, that's a great way to kind of get on top of that. And if they are nagging and you've already done it, you can say, you're not even giving me a chance to kind of do this. Let me come to you when I'm ready. So state your own sort of boundaries, your own intentions, let them know what works and what doesn't work. Regaining control and focusing on managing your sensitivity, I think, are really, really important. Okay? So I think those are the main messages. Give me a moment here, and I just want to see if there's anything else that's coming through, generally speaking. While I'm doing that, just a reminder, if you like what you see here, please do follow me on social media. Let's see, what's a message that could kind of help all of you right now? Okay, I got one about, for some of you that want to focus on recognition. What my guides are kind of showing me is a question of, are you recognizing your gifts, and why aren't you being recognized by others? So let me focus a little bit on recognition and see if there's a general message coming through for recognition. We'll see what the universe wants to show for this. All right, so for recognition, what needs to happen? So many Seven of Wands. Okay, so the first message with recognition is Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords is saying, for some of you, you might need to rise above. I really love this illustration here. We see someone in the midst of a lot of stress. Sometimes it's family or community or work stress. Instead of becoming a part of that, she's trying to raise the frequency. So if you're not getting recognized, it might be that the environment in which you exist, work, family, or even your relationship, there's just a lack of positivity there. It's not your fault necessarily. There could just be momentum that needs to be improved, or someone else could be in a really stressful place. You've got to try to elevate it a little bit. You don't want to discount where people are. But if it is a work environment, I think this is actually about making sure that you don't get pulled into drama and things like that. If they consistently don't want to see you, I think that, again, this is sort of indicative of a bigger problem. The stress that you're experiencing sometimes with the Nine of Swords is not worth the energy that it takes to fix it, particularly if it's a bigger sort of thing like an office that you're working at, or maybe an extracurricular activity, or a place that you're living. If there's just constant stress, it's the universe saying, why are you here? So you don't have to stay there if you don't want to. Focus on, it's another card of focusing on rest. So make sure you're taking care of yourself and you're not running yourself ragged, because that's not going to impress anyone either. It's just going to wear yourself out. So that's the first thing that came through. The second one is definitely about keeping to your limits. And we talked about this. It's very important for you to push back a little bit. We see a kind of like a construction worker here laying what looks like it might be, train tracks or something here. But this is a lot of work to do on your own. Whenever I see the Seven of Wands, just because you can do this doesn't mean you should do this, right? So I think it's going to be essential for you to kind of remember that you're not always going to have the momentum that you have right now. It's a long distance sort of run. And so sprint and relax a little bit. You can't do a constant sprint. So when you need help, ask. When you've had enough, say you've had enough. It's kind of like if someone's pouring coffee in a cup, and they say when, and you never say when, they're going to have to try to guess, and you don't want someone else to know when you've had enough, okay? So definitely speak up. And if you've had enough of waiting, speak up here. So for those of you, again, we're looking a little bit at career with this, where the recognition hasn't come through, then you want to push back on any excuses that the other person might give. Oh, we don't have the money. Oh, I'm so stressful right now, et cetera, et cetera. Say, okay, but this is also a part of my career growth and my satisfaction, and I'm here for you and I help you out. So I'm not going to wait forever. You don't have to make them an ultimatum, but just say this isn't acceptable. So I'm going to put it in your court. The ball's in your court, and I expect to hear back. In the meantime, research, look for other things if you need to, if someone is constantly making excuses. Sometimes you just have to say no, or you have to say the time is now, and people will listen. Ultimately, you are loved. We have the Lovers card here. There are people out there who do appreciate you. And it feels like sometimes you're asking yourself and others, why do you bring out the beast? Because we have Beauty and the Beast with this card. So sometimes people are constantly making you nag or show your where your limits are. They're stressed out and putting that stress on you, and that brings out the beast when really you are the Lover's card, when really you just want them to be happy, you want to be happy. So the message here is love yourself enough to not kind of get stuck in this energy. Love yourself enough to find a place where someone sees you for yourself. I mean, in the story, at least in the Disney telling of it, not necessarily if it was a Grimm or fairy tale or wherever it came from originally, but in the Disney telling, she sees past the beastly exterior, right? So someone should be able to see past any limitations and see the true core of you. And if they can't, that's more indicative of their lack of imagination and support here. So love yourself, push back, and don't get involved in the drama. I think that's going to be important. And move forward. You can do this on your own if you need to, okay? Yeah, someone said they like this deck. This is Tarot of the Divine. All of this stuff is on my website, including my schedule. So if you have any questions about that, you can go to nicholasashbaugh.com. And actually in the main navigation, I have all the links to my deck. Also, if you've enjoyed what you've seen here, I see we have some great super stickers coming through. You can say thank you. And at the very end, I'll log into the YouTube and kind of say thank you and recognize anyone who gave back. Also, I try not to say it too much, but please like and subscribe this video. I would say subscribe if you've never subscribed, and like the video if you can. It helps with channel growth and allowing people to find me. And I think I already gave you my social media platforms. So this was fun tonight. I feel like we're kind of at time. Let me see if there's anything else that we should do. Why don't we do a final question? Because I like to keep these short. You guys always want me to do shorter readings, so I'm listening to you. All right, so as always, the final question works this way. I want you to focus on something that I haven't had a chance to answer. This can be anything. It can be something about relationships, something about your health, something about, life goals or, overarching purposes in life. Just meditate on this for a couple of minutes, breathe, and I'm going to select a different deck while you're doing that and see what the universe is bringing in. Okay, we're going to take a look and see. We're going to do a deeper dive on this one just because we can, and then we'll wrap up. So past, present, future. A little bit of a deeper question on that final question, not just a single card today. Let's see what insights we can kind of yield from this. So for many of you, keeping an open mind, this is more of the past, not the yes or the no. The yes or the no is between the present and the future. So I would say some of you have maybe already decided that this is the only way. The stubbornness can help you on some levels. So if you're really keen on making something happen, good for you. It's going to happen. Be sure that if somebody warns you or asks a question or tries to give you some additional insights, that you're open to it. You could miss something if you're not careful. The overall yes or no is going to bother you a little bit because it's saying that it's not black and white. Whatever question you're looking at, the answer is yet to be written on this one because we have the King of Swords here in the near future. This to me is very much affirmative. This is a yes to me. So if we look at the three in rapid succession here, this is saying you had a pretty clear idea of what's going on and you're focusing on that. There isn't going to be a black and white answer. You're going to have to trust the original vision. And you're writing your own future. You always have the capacity to make things happen. I would say this is especially true in this moment in time. So it is a yes, ultimately, but you could be at that sort of nexus where you're wondering, like, why hasn't it shown up yet? Why isn't this happening? Or why did this happen to me? And this is saying you just need to kind of take a right or a left in the road, and you're going to start to see what it is that you wanted. You can almost see that these two fit together and create this scene, right? It's very beautiful, actually, the way that's set up. So maintain the original vision, but be willing to deviate a little bit if you need to, left or right. I think that's so important. But ultimately, this card here is indicative of a yes. You absolutely can do what you want to do, but you have to be in control. You have to be accountable. You have to see it through. You may have to move through a period of the unknown. And even when other people are kind of sitting there scratching their head like, why are you doing this? You know it's okay. All right, so ultimately it's a yes. Sort of picking up on some health energy with this, I would say the other thing you want to be mindful of with the Two of Swords, anytime I get cards like that, is to also make sure that you're paying attention to your vision. So if there's anything going on where you're having a hard time seeing, Two of Swords, Eight of Swords are a reminder to make sure that you're going to the doctor and take care of that. I also think that some of you may have some difficulty in concentrating, and that's been coming up as well. So just take care of the head space, the upper chakras, all of that is going to be important. Okay, so that is our impromptu reading today. Thank you for giving me a chance to test out this new setup. I just wanted to make sure that it was okay for the weekend. I've been listening to many of you. I know you were happy that I got a better camera, but you said, I wish I could see what you're shuffling and everything. So hopefully you like it. Thank you to everybody that's given me some support to make this possible, because without you, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So first of all, welcome to anybody that's new. Thank you to everybody that's given back. And I'm going to take a couple moments now to share some gratitude. All right. So let me go ahead right now and open up YouTube. And let's just go to the membership tab, and let's see if there was any new members. I'll welcome you. And if there were any new contributions, I'll say thank you as well. I'm going to put my social things up here while I'm doing that. So to the new channel members, I want to say thank you and welcome to Van and Sheila. Thank you so much. Yuri Gonzalez, Francis Campbell, Heart Vibrations. It looks like you're rejoining, so welcome back. And I think those are all the new ones because I recognize some of the other ones from this morning, so thank you. Now we're going to go into the super stickers and super chats and a little information again. Thank you so much to everybody that's given the supers because it does help. All right, so thank you so much for all the support today. I do appreciate it. Amy Neff, thank you for kicking things off today. Robert, I mentioned you earlier. I appreciate that. Thanks for the extra contribution there. I do appreciate it. Karina Ponce, Fisty, Crystal, Christine, Megan D, Lil, let's see, KSK55, Abel, Charlene, thank you as well for that generous contribution. Myra Rodriguez, Deborah Ann, Aurora Erica, Your Best Life, Angela Kirk, Lily, Sonia 1218, Amber Brown, Mercathia Hughes, Warrior Sisters of Light, Patricia M, thank you, Bethany, Rhiannon Spaziano, and then let's see, Trang Bam Bam. Fun names, all of you. Thank you so much for giving back, being a part of tonight. Looks like Kimber, you also gave back. Kimber, I know that other one was yours as well, so I appreciate that. AB, I also see that you just gave back. Maria R, and I think I covered everyone. So thank you so much one last time. If you haven't already subscribed, consider doing that. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy this, and if you like what you see here, we'll definitely do more of these impromptus in the future. And in the meantime, lots of love and light to everybody. I hope that you enjoyed today. I'll be back again on Sunday. I'll be putting that link up so that you can bookmark that. And again, in the meantime, if you need a reminder of my schedule, it's on my website. All right. Take care. Thanks to Maria for helping out with moderation tonight. And I'll see everybody on the weekend. Have a great one. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.